Ms. Davies appears in the courtroom to prove that the defendant, Mr. Hunter, is the father of her son. He called of their wedding because of certain rumors of her past that have now made him believe that Ms. Davies has been fooling around with other men. Will Judge Lauren be able to solve their mystery? Well, let's see. Here's how it all began.
Ms. Davies, you say that after being with Mr. Hunter for 5 years, he's now given into lies and rumors about your past, scrapped your wedding plans, and is now denying your son Jaden. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Let's not lie, that's a pretty smart move. No man wants to get married to a woman that they can't trust to be around their kids. Ms. Davies still hasn't answered the question Judge Lauren asked her. Why did it take her this long to come to court if her relationship has been rocky all this while? 5 years is a long time.
Well, Your Honor, we met like 5.5 years ago through a mutual friend. I would say that we were happy when we first got together, but then I started finding text messages, phone calls from other females. So at that point of the relationship, Your Honor, I no longer trusted him.
Ow, she's even admitting to the fact that she actually did entertain other men. Interesting. She also says that it went both ways because she found out that Mr. Hunter was also being cozy in the DM with other women as well. A tit for tat kind of thing.
Now, once you did that, what happened?
Well, once I did, I briefly had a relationship with the guy. We were sexually together a few times.
Did you use
Watch
protection?
it with me.
A couple times we did not, Your Honor.
What was she expecting him to do? Give her a hug and welcome her with open arms? Like that was ever going to happen. She just admitted to the judge that she was sexual with another man and did not use protection when they were kicking it in bed.
Okay, I couldn't say I was 100% sure at the time, but I wanted Devon to be the father because he has been there in my life for, at this time, we've been together like 2.5 years.
All right, so now we're getting honest now, and
Right.
that's what we're here to do.
Right.
The truth is when you told him you wanted him to be,
Yes.
but you didn't know for certain.
Yes.
She's telling him one thing and now saying a different thing in the courtroom, and why am I not surprised? She initially told Mr. Hunter that she was 100% certain that he was the father. In the courtroom, she's now saying that she wasn't 100% sure he was, but she wanted him to be because they've been together for a long time.
I'm at her house, right? She let me stay over her house. I had been drinking, so I want to go lay down, right? I accidentally fall asleep longer than I'm supposed to, so she's thinking I'm gone. She brings another guy and another girl upstairs into the room.
With that smirking and smile on her face, I guess we know the answer to that question. So, Mr. Hunter caught her in the act of cheating on him with a guy and a girl. Wow, she must really love to have fun, that's for sure. What's funny is that this is different from the guy she admitted to sleeping with.
And she gets up and walks to the kitchen, and she's in the kitchen for like maybe 10, 15 minutes. She's supposed to come back already. I walk around to the kitchen, and she's damn near standing in between this guy's legs. Like, you know what I mean? What is that about?
What is this about? Because you say it hurts to hear you.
Judge Lauren is right. We aren't going to pretend like Mr. Hunter is innocent or a saint in this situation. The fact still remains that everything he accuses her of doing, she admits to having done every single one of them. She carries most of the blame, so it's funny that she's crying.
Does not physically interact with Jaden.
Really?
Yes, Your Honor. We just had a birthday party for Jaden. Devon didn't show up.
Why didn't you show up to the child's birthday party, Mr. Hunter?
Cause she gonna start tripping on me and all kind of stuff, cause we weren't, like at that time, she was mad at me anyway.
There he goes, giving a lame excuse instead of just admitting that he was wrong. What if it turns out that he is the father of the child? Does he think the child is not going to remember that he skipped the birthday party? That's sad, honestly.
The house
'Cause she would kick me
90%
out.
of the time.
She would kick me out like every week.
Yes, because
Every week.
I'm always
Yeah.
finding text messages. You want to come home at 4 and 5 in the morning.
That happened like twice.
So yeah, I was kicking him out.
Twice too many.
I had good reasons though. I had a party. We was at a party.
Even Jerome knows better than to do that. The fact that it happened only twice doesn't mean it's something that should even be happening. Oh well. The results are in, and it's time to see if they're still going to be making wedding plans.
Mr. Hunter, you are not father.
I told you.
Ms. Marks McGee wants the defendant to step up and take responsibility for being a father to her child. But here's the catch. The defendant, Mr. Wright, says that she never told him about the baby until he was 3 weeks old and he doubts he is the father of the child. The case starts off like this.
Ms. Marks McGee, you say the defendant needs to step up and take responsibility for your 2-year-old son, Amari, because you know he is your son's biological father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, So there's another guy in the picture. Well, that definition makes things interesting. Mr. Wright says that the only reason she's naming him as the father is because the other man she was messing in bed with wants nothing to do with her child. Pretty heavy accusation.
Convenient distraction.
In my mind, yes. But, you know, like I said, things went further than what they were supposed to
When
go.
you say it went further,
I started catching feelings for him.
so it was supposed to be a rebound, then you start having feelings for him, real feelings.
Yes, ma'am. He was there for me a lot, and my other son.
Haha, that explains why she caught feelings. What she wanted to be a rebound ended up being the perfect man for her. No wonder Mr. Wright is smirking like he won the lottery. Oh well, this is why you never use people to get over people. It never ends well.
Did it start off as a rebound for you too, Mr. Wright, or you had feelings from the beginning?
I didn't have feelings in the beginning because I had, you know what I'm saying, when I first met her, I was introduced to her by a friend. In the beginning, she was telling a lot of lies, you know, that I always picked up on, you know.
But if you knew she was lying, why move in with her?
Now we're getting somewhere. It now makes sense when he said he was vulnerable. Mr. Wright tells the judge that he was at a point in his life where he needed somewhere to stay, and that's why he moved in with Ms. Marks McGee. He always says that she used to tell a lot of lies when he initially moved in.
Me being in my position, hearing that constantly, what would you think?
Well, I mean, at some point, I'm not gonna lie, Miss Marks McGee, you know, you heard the story of the boy that cried wolf.
Yes,
you
ma'am.
become the girl that cried pregnant.
Right, but that wasn't the case.
So what was the issue? You kept thinking you were pregnant, or
No,
you
I
weren't?
thought I was pregnant one time before I really found out that I was pregnant. I wasn't feeling myself. I know how I...
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Slow down, Ms. Marks McGee. She told him she was going to get rid of the baby and he ended up seeing pictures of her pregnant on Facebook? It finally makes sense. Guess we see why Mr. Wright said she told a lot of lies.
Okay.
Apparently, she started messing with somebody else, and that's who she tried to put the baby off on.
Oh, in the beginning, she told someone else they were the child's father?
In the beginning, I told Mr. Wright he was the father, but the someone else was the one that I was trying to get over.
Looks like the new word we're going to be adding to our vocabulary is repregnant. Anyway, Ms. Marks McGee says that she stopped talking to Mr. Wright, and that's when her ex came back into the picture. Things are really getting interesting at this point.
There's actually one incident I acted as if I was her, texting a friend.
So you text.
Girl, I was like, girl, this guy acting up. She says back, who? I text back, who do you think? I mean, I'm just waiting, just like, okay, what is she about to say? What is she about to say? A whole different name popped up.
They should have Mr. Wright audition for a spy movie or something. Apparently, he picked up Ms. Marks McGee's phone and texted one of her friends, trying to find out if he was the only man she was sleeping with. To his surprise, he wasn't the only one.
And what'd you say?
I asked her who was this guy? And she like, oh, that's a friend, you know, from the past, way back in the day. That's, you know what I'm saying?
Right off the bat,
I can't sit here and tell you that.
He walked around mad, punching holes in my wall with his head. So I'm asking him, like, what is wrong with you? Like, what do you...
Men. Is this a lot? Ms. Marks McGee sticks with her story and says that she believes Mr. Wright is the father of her child because they share features that she believes to be alike. If I'm being honest, she's the only one seeing those features because I don't see them.
Even after he was born, you know, I tried to reconcile and, you know what I'm saying, try to be around. She would disappear all the time. Like, I couldn't find her. She won't answer the phone. She's never around. Like she says she's at work. They say she's never came in, but she'll leave with a full work uniform.
No, there's never been a time that I have never went to work because, like I said, I was the one paying the bills.
Even she knows that's a lot of kids for her age. Well, the results are in, and I think it's time we help these guys settle their drama. Is Mr. Wright going to be the father of her child? Let's find that out, shall we?
Mr. Wright, you are not father.
Miss Cherry has never seen Mr. Johnson until today, yet she's certain he is her father. Mr. Johnson has his doubts, but understands how important this is to her, which is why he's here in court today. Let's hear from Miss Cherry. Here's how the case begins.
Just looking for closure. I was adopted, within family, so I know who my mother is and everything, but I was adopted within family, and certain family members have always made the statements that my parents just didn't love me and that's why they gave me up.
This is so sad. Nobody wants to hear such a thing. It's the kind of thing that breaks down a person's spirit, telling them their parents abandoned them because they don't love them. After so many years, Ms. Cherry is here to get the closure she needs to move forward from the past hurt.
First of all, very sympathetic to Jennifer and her journey, and I do not believe that I am her father because of things that were told to me over the years. It was told to me that I was her father, and then there was a member.
It's been an emotional roller coaster for Mr. Johnson. First, he was told he was the father, then told he wasn't. No wonder he was never sure enough to be part of Ms. Cherry's life. And for her, it's been a long time without a father. She's 33 years old.
I've My girlfriend was also pregnant, and she had left to go to Ohio. Jennifer's mother sent someone from the neighborhood with a note saying that she wanted to sleep with me, and she was in love with me. At this time, I had a few beers.
Interesting way to hook up. Smooth, too. The fact that they had been together for only one night must be one of the reasons Mr. Johnson didn't and still doesn't believe he is Ms. Cherry's father.
Now she's pregnant. Do you find out?
Yes, I found out through the neighborhood. People in the neighborhood just were coming up to me and telling me, congratulations on your daughter, and I was saying I'm having a son.
So then did you get wind of the fact that they were talking about Miss Cherry's mother?
Mr. Johnson admits he had unprotected sex with Miss Cherry's mother, Dee Dee, but didn't believe she was pregnant for him because of the mismatched timeline. He knew one woman was pregnant for him, though, and that was his girlfriend.
Well, I went to the hospital to visit my son who had been born. And when I got to the hospital, someone had said, "Are you here to see your daughter?"
So again, you're getting the same feedback, like you have a daughter. Did you say, where is this baby?
It does seem harsh that Mr. Johnson never even came to see the baby, but in his defense, he says by then he was told the baby wasn't his, and they claim to already know who the father was. If this unnamed family member really knew the identity of Ms. Cherry's real father, why did they stay silent all these years?
Brett, not pursuing the opportunity to truly find out if Miss Cherry's your biological daughter.
Yes, I actually do regret it, but I did try to reach out and find them. I did not have any names. I did go downtown in 2000 to try to get a blood test, but by that time...
So, Mr. Johnson eventually regretted his actions and tried to find Ms. Cherry and run a DNA test, but couldn't afford to. But a different version of the story was told to Ms. Cherry, which is that Mr. Johnson and her mom signed over their parental rights to her adoptive family. But guess what? Mr. Johnson says he never signed any such thing. Somebody is lying here.
I did a DNA ancestry and it linked me to cousins. I had told them I don't know my father or anything like that, so they asked me for the name. They came literally 10 minutes. It was like, we couldn't find anyone with that spelling, but we found someone with this spelling.
After all these years, Mr. Johnson finally sees some resemblance between them. But let's be honest, it's not like he ever tried to notice before. He never put in the effort to find her, while she spent so long searching for him.
The reason why I did submit to pay child support all her life is because even though I did not believe that she was my child, I knew there was a child out there in need, and that probably needs someone someday to say that they care.
Your Honor, I'm sorry, I don't believe he ever...
Ms. Cherry doesn't believe Mr. Johnson's pity story. If he had cared enough, he would have made an effort to find her at least, and not ship her off to family members as an adopted child.
I'm so sorry you had to grow up without a father, and I'm willing to do DNA for you, but I believe 99% you are. I've always waited for you to contact me. Wow. Mr. Johnson, this doesn't sound doubtful. This says you believe 99%.
You've been waiting her whole life for her to contact you? What does that even mean? Couldn't you have contacted her? All of a sudden, because of some Facebook picture, you believe she's yours and are down for a DNA test. We can't help but feel for Ms. Cherry, who's had to go through all of these because her parents were careless.
I wouldn't say I felt unloved my whole life, and my child questions who my parents are. She knows who her grandparents are from her dad. So when she's questioning me and say, well, Mommy, where's your mom and dad at?
What an emotional and mature exchange. It's time to find out if these two are father and daughter with 3 decades of catching up to do. The results are in.
Mr. Johnson, you are not father.
According to Ms. Jackson, only a fool would believe that Ms. Pickens' daughter, Shazia, is her granddaughter. Ms. Jackson is stepping in for her incarcerated son to contest Shazia's paternity. However, Ms. Pickens points out that these allegations are new because originally she had accepted her daughter.
Never accepted the baby. That's a lie. I stated from day one, I do not believe this is my granddaughter. She first, if I can bring you into my reality.
I want to go in. Tell me what happened.
Okay, she came to my home with her mother.
Ms. Pickens showed up at Ms. Jackson's house with a 4-month-old to announce that her daughter belonged to Ms. Jackson's son, but according to Ms. Jackson, she had never even heard of Ms. Pickens before that day. That must have been a huge shock to her.
Guys, you were sleeping with.
Yeah, he pursued me.
How many guys were you sleeping with?
2.
She don't know.
2.
She don't know. She
when
don't
I met him, I had a boyfriend.
Exactly.
Me and the boy stopped.
I'm sorry.
When you met her her son,
Yes.
you had a boyfriend.
Yes.
So somehow you get
Yes.
into a relationship with Miss Jackson's son.
Yes.
Will these women calm down? Mrs. Pickens was with multiple partners at the same time, so it's understandable that Ms. Jackson has doubts. But why would you be messing around with another guy every single day while you were in a relationship?
I'm the judge, and I ask the questions, you answer them, okay? Talk to me.
I will, sorry. I'm just frustrated.
Good one, Judge Lauren. They have to stop yelling at each other if they want this case to come to a reasonable conclusion. Let's keep going.
It's not that guy, it's Miss Jackson's son. When did you change your mind and why?
When he pursued me, calling me and like, oh, well, that's my baby, this, that. So I
So
was
when
like,
you say he pursued you, you
Yes.
meant when you had this baby.
yes.
Okay, so Ms. Pickens has been playing the guessing game ever since she found out about her pregnancy. She initially thought the baby belonged to the other guy she'd been going out with after the affair with Ms. Jackson's son was over. Could that be a lie?
I never took the time and be like, well, she could come over to my house. Well, you can come over to my house and spend, you can come over with
that's-
your daughter and spend the
That's
night.
because,
I'm just saying, what,
that's the simple
what,
fact
what grown woman?
because
I'm
my
just saying,
son
but
is
at the
claiming
end of the
this
day,
is
I'm
his
just
child.
saying, but
I
at
told
the
my
same
son,
time,
don't be a fool.
Oh, Ms. Jackson is angry. She really did invite Ms. Pickens and her daughter over, but claims she only did that because her son accepted the child was his. She didn't, and she hasn't still. She doesn't see the resemblance Ms. Pickens says is there. She just wants the results to prove her right.
Mother connection.
You don't have a grandmother connection.
No.
Meaning when you look at the baby, you
I
don't
do
have
not.
that feeling that
Exactly. This is my grandchild. I have two grandchildren that I love dearly and take very good care of them. That she was sleeping with unprotected. Then she claimed to be that another man was the father. So these are the reasons that I have my doubt. She have lied about faking a pregnancy, stated she was pregnant with twins.
Some of Ms. Jackson's reasons are understandable, but grandma instincts? Never heard that one before. How do you expect to feel connected to a child whose mother you obviously dislike and are repeatedly trying to prove wrong? And what is this about Ms. Pickens faking a pregnancy?
Did you
Yes,
lie about
yes,
a second
I did.
pregnancy?
Yes, I was kind of hurt. I was kind of hurt. Yes, I did lie. And the only reason how you know I lied because I told your son that I lied. Yes,
we
you
found
did.
out because we called the hospital.
No,
and there was no such.
Ms. Pickens took her revenge plot too far, lying about a pregnancy and then claiming you had an abortion? What kind of revenge is that? How do you do this and expect the man and his family to trust you?
I want to understand your position
Okay.
and why you are certain that your grandchild was fathered by Miss Jackson's son.
To me, she looked just like.
This is so messed up. Miss Pickens is only 19, yet she's involved in all this drama. And then, Miss Jackson is a grandmother of 3 at just 37. These people are going too fast, sleeping with anybody and popping out babies like they are the easiest thing to make in the world.
Your Honor, I do understand your question. And the only thing I can tell you is this. My son, he did say that this is his child, but a woman should know who the father of her. And I have told Markel over and over again, we could have been had this resolved. If this is my grandchild, I will apologize to her. I said this to her on Facebook, and I will take in that child.
Truly, Ms. Jackson isn't wrong for thinking Shazia isn't her granddaughter. And Miss Pickens cannot put the paternity of her child on a man just because he says he is her father. It does not work that way. It's good that she's ready to accept Shazia if she's proven to be hers, though.
I'm trying to understand. You're his current girlfriend,
Yes.
and you have a child
Correct.
with him.
Correct.
You didn't know of Miss Pickens
At all.
And you say her concern.
About me and Kevin's relationship, then finding if that's Kevin's.
Say this entire.
Could Ms. Jackson and Aaliyah be right? Is Miss Pickens more concerned about their relationship than her child's paternity? We may never know the answers to these questions, but we do know what the DNA results say. Let's find out.
Mrs. Jackson, you are not her grandmother.
Mr. Buchanan has a history of women lying to him about paternity, so it's no wonder he doesn't trust that his girlfriend's 6-month-old daughter is his, especially since she had an affair with his best friend. Ms. Meistembridge argues that it's this past experience that's fueling his doubts. The Cast W begins like this.
Getting his beer, and this was actually the day after I was incarcerated in a jail under false pretenses. They had the wrong person, and while we was in the car, he had bought some food, and I said, I was eating it, and he was like, "Why are you eating all my food?" And I'm like,
while Mr. Buchanan was locked up, Ms. Stembridge and his best friend had a few drinks, and this pisses Mr. Buchanan off because he knows that their drinking would have transpired into something else, like sleeping together. In addition, he heard that the two of them were sneaking around while he was away.
I get out of jail, all right, and I get back. Who calls me? I get a phone call from my ex, all right? My ex is who I was dating before her, all right? I get a phone call. I'm like, yeah, what's up, okay? Oh, I need to check my girl. Why I need to check my girl?
Ms. Stembridge really brought the clothes to court? These people are hilarious. Instead of denying the allegations that she'd been cuddling up in bed with her boyfriend's best friend, she's trying to prove that her outfit wasn't inappropriate.
Use better language in the court. You walked in and saw what?
Booty in the air.
Maybe
booty in the air.
Reflection out mirror. Look, better come up and show me. You have a diagram here. What did you see?
I walked in. This is the door to Eric's room. I walked in.
Ms. McNeil has a whole diagram to show how she found Ms. Stembridge on this guy's bed. Isn't that funny and a little suspicious? First off, she made a diagram for this, and she's clearly way too invested in her ex's relationship. And also, is anyone else noticing how Ms. Stembridge has barely been asked a question or given a chance to speak? Feels a bit off, doesn't it?
You have no recollection of her even being in the house.
No, and this was during the daytime because she called Eric and said, hey, I'm coming over to pick something up. So why would I be bending over to bed like that?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe because...
If given the chance, these women will tear into each other, but no one's even talking about the baby. It really feels like this case is more about Mr. Buchanan and his girlfriend's drama than it is about the paternity of his supposed child.
And 2 weeks later, all right? That's why I'm denying that little girl, man. Because I'm gonna tell you what, 2 weeks later and she's pregnant, we took 3 of them. They all came back saying there's something wrong in there, all right? Look at that. I mean, I'm gonna tell you what, I love that little girl all my heart, all right? I love that girl. I don't care if Eric is the dad.
Under Mr. Buchanan's funny facade is a man who genuinely cares about his girl and child. He's hurt that he was cheated on, especially considering he had been wrongfully locked up, and it was with his best friend. Despite all that, he's still a present dad and loves the baby no matter what.
That baby has to have me every night to go to sleep. That baby will not go to sleep unless she has me laying in that bed with her.
He is a great father,
You have tears in your eyes as you speak about her.
Yeah, that's my life.
If she's not your biological daughter.
Well, we hope he doesn't have to fight for the baby, but before we get to the results, let's see how these two women solve their own fight.
You the one lied to him, but yeah, you got his back. That's funny.
It's funny, you the one that never had my back.
That's why you wanted to come to Carolina with me.
Have a seat, Ms.
When you were still pregnant.
Oh, these women are crazy. Mr. Buchanan sure has a lot on his plate. There's no more time to waste. Let's get to the results already.
Mr. Buchanan, you are her father.
Thank you.
That's a blessing.
She had sex with his best friend and multiple men. At least this is what Mr. Gonzalez argues today in court. Ms. Salvo and Mr. Gonzalez were a match made in heaven, or so they thought. But today, these two cannot seem to agree on a single thing.
Your Honor, I can't stand him. He knows Amaya's his daughter, but he refuses to take care of him. I've never, ever had sex with any Hispanic man but him. I prefer black people. I don't like Hispanic men. I was intoxicated at the time.
What an interesting revelation from her very first retort in court. She does not like Hispanic men, I see. Oh, Ms. Salvo, nobody asked about your sexual preference. If you're so particular about Hispanic men, explain the Hispanic baby in court right now. You were drunk, huh?
Now, Ms. Salvo, you claim that this testimony is false. It's incorrect.
Yes, Your Honor. The whole part 6 times. That's ridiculous. It wasn't even good, so why would I keep going?
So you had sex with Mr. Gonzalez.
What a woman. She is right, though. It takes just one time. Now here's the question. Who's lying between them? Is it Mr. Gonzalez with his 6-time count or Ms. Salvo with his 1-time hit? Regardless of what it is, someone is definitely going to have a mountain of regret.
Now, is that the only reason you excluded your ex-boyfriend?
Yes.
Is because you felt like Amaya looked Hispanic and not black?
She has too much of him. She looks way too much. The dimple, she has one dimple just like he does. The shape of his eyebrows.
Well, would you look at that? Every single time, one person in court always feels entitled to the semblance card. If Ms. Salvo thinks her baby belongs to Mr. Gonzalez simply because she looks like him, she really has no valid point, especially after having sex with other men. Who's to say that her ex-boyfriend does not have Hispanic ancestry?
My doubt is, I took my best friend over there to her house. 5 days later, I get in the car with my best friend. He's Hispanic, Puerto Rican. He tells me, I'm sorry, Julio, but I gotta show you something. I'm like, what you mean you gotta show me something? He showed me.
Your best friend had naked pictures of Miss Salvo.
Yes, Your Honor.
Miss Salvo?
Whoa. She did what? Now, why was Mr. Gonzalez's friend at her house? More so, how do the pictures exist if Ms. Salvo never takes naked pictures? Like she said, these pictures are suggestive, and Mr. Gonzalez has nothing to gain from lying about them. Now, again, who is lying between these two?
About being, I guess what you would call it, fast, that was when 18 and under. Yeah, I was young and dumb. I was a kid. I did everything with whoever at that time. I conceived my daughter.
Whoa. Let's get one thing straight first. She was pregnant with her baby when she was, what? The amount of teenage pregnancies on paternity court is absolutely alarming. Also, Ms. Salvo is admitting to being promiscuous. Now, all that is left is to figure out which of them is lying.
This Mexican guy, he keep looking mad at me like he want to fight me or something. I asked, Ashley, why that guy so mad at me? Why he looked like he want to fight me? Oh, because he wanted to be the baby daddy, but I told him, you're the baby daddy.
Oh my goodness. What are these stories about different men coming up at various intervals? Why is a random man from her elementary school coming into her life right now? If truly it was elementary school, why then did he want a baby by you? Damn.
Mr. Gonzalez, it seemed as if you were hoping Amaya was your daughter.
I want Amaya to be my daughter.
You do?
Yeah, I don't want her. It's not her fault she's here in this world. She's an innocent little girl. The baby used to come to my house. She used to eat in my house. My mom used to get her stuff.
Oh, what a woman. Bless her dear soul. She did all of that for the baby amidst the thick fog of doubt in the air that the baby may not be her son's. It really helps nobody when one person says one thing and the other person claims another story. Now that all of the fog is gone, we simply cannot wait to get the results.
Child. And if she is your biological child,
I would like to have weekends.
You're going to step up to the plate?
Yes, ma'am.
And do what needs to be done to care for this beautiful little girl? Well, Jerome, I'm ready for the results.
What a guy. Now, we get to find out whose story holds water, from Ms. Salvo denying all the cheating allegations to Mr. Gonzalez, claiming that his fiancée slept with 1 million men, and some. Who made the mistake and who is going to regret their silly decisions?
Mr. Gonzalez, it has been determined by this court that you are not the father.
Whoops. After having the older child together, they had the option of staying together and raising the boy. They obviously did not take that option. Ms. Petty moved on with another man too. So, why in hell and in the heavens did they keep messing around with one another? It honestly makes zero sense. I mean, were they not thinking there could be consequences?
Yeah, I tried to stop messing with her, but every time I stopped messing with her, she'll go ahead and bring up like, well, you can't see your son and all this, you ain't gonna be able to.
Your contention is that he never really got over you and still kept coming around. But you have to tell this court. You do admit that you also were having sex with Mr. Daniels.
Oh, Ms. Petty, surely the entire concept of commitment must be too much for your pretty head. If you choose a man, the whole point of it all is to stay with that one man. Nothing like staying with a man and still going back to your ex-boyfriend. But here we are.
He asked me to give my daughter his last name because he knew all the lies Stefan was telling me.
No, because they was
know everything he was
they were
telling
staying together for 2 years.
About how he didn't want to take her.
And they were sleeping with each other unprotected.
Well, look at both of them go. It's so difficult for Judge Lake to get a word in as it is. If Ms. Petty claims that her current boyfriend put his name on the certificate because he knows the lies Stefan told her, how come she's still sitting at his feet, eating up all those lies? Those lies gotta taste hella good, if you know what I mean.
He don't want to be around for her. He didn't even give her the chance, to get to know him. Child support, he avoided DNA testing for my daughter.
Whoa, Ms. Petty really thinks that he already knows in his gut and is trying to run away from his responsibilities. What if he doesn't, though? What if he's just a man that keeps projecting off of the fact that he really does not know if it's his baby or not?
About how often were you sleeping with each man?
I would have sex with them on the same day.
I was afraid I was going to hear that.
All she was trying to do was break a relationship. She was just trying to break up my relationship.
How am I breaking up his relationship?
Because anytime.
Oh my goodness. She's been doing what? Does her current boyfriend even know about this? Oh, it would simply break him. Why exactly is Mr. Ballet acting like he never did anything wrong too? Talking about how Ms. Petty keeps ruining his relationship? Why did he have to keep sleeping around with his ex as well? Come on, it definitely was consensual sex.
The bottom line is, up until this point, until the baby was born, did you know that she had been having a sexual relationship with Mr. Ball as well?
She told me before because of the situation when we got together.
Okay.
So she told me that there was one time where they did.
But through the entire pregnancy, you were there.
Of course, she told him about the one time. Now who knows if it's just one time or there are more times. After every single moment Mr. Daniels has had with the baby, imagine ripping his heart out of his chest and tearing it to pieces, telling him that he's not the father.
You and Mr. Ball had a sexual relationship.
Last week.
It was not last week. Your Honor, the last time we had a sexual relationship is when she said they broke up.
Mr. Daniel, I see you.
What is wrong with these two? Honestly, they are meant for one another and they need to take their baggage out of Mr. Daniel's life. They were together last week, as per some days ago. Isn't that the most messed up thing? It seems like it would really never end.
I see his car outside, so I walk around to the window. I look in there and I see her hand. He's laying down. Her hands is in his boxers.
What? Okay, I can see the truth is from the look on your face that you all had another sexual encounter that day.
I wasn't even trying to that day.
Whoa, her hand was where? Surely she wasn't looking for some truth down his boxers. This woman has a loyal and responsible man that loves her and keeps taking all of this. What more does she want? Putting her hands down other men's boxers, searching for God knows what?
I'm happy for Mr. Daniel, but if she is mine, I just want to say I want custody of both of my children. I ain't gonna lie. I'm a better parent than both of them.
And he's not doing nothing for her, for him, neither one. To be honest, I want custody of both of them.
Jerome, I'm ready for results.
I'm not even 100%.
Well, now both dads want full custody. Isn't that something? Let's find out if the baby belongs to Mr. Daniels or Mr. Hands Down His Boxers. Maybe there's another man whose boxers she was searching for some other truth in. We'll find out today in court. Here are the results.
Mr. Ball, you are her father.
Ms. Reinhardt believes that Ms. Crow claims her late son, J.C. Turner, is her baby daddy just so she can get death benefits. However, Ms. Crow says her son Thomas is a result of the love she and J.C. shared while he was alive. Let us find out more.
Crow, you have summoned the defendant to court to prove that her deceased son, J.C. Turner, fathered your 2-year-old son, Thomas. You want Thomas to know who his father is, and you say that Ms. Reinhardt has done everything she can to sabotage your efforts. Is that correct?
It's always difficult to get through a case where the alleged father is dead because we don't get to hear his side of the story. Now, all we've got is what his mom knows, or what she thinks she knows.
I would like help with my son, yes, of course, but my son cannot grow and to know who his family is.
And to this point, he doesn't have any real knowledge of his father. You have not talked to him about his father, or have you?
I have.
You have.
It's nice of Ms. Crow to give father and son the opportunity to bond over the phone, but I'm curious to find out the rest of the story. How did JC's mom know nothing about this? Well, there's only one way to find out.
I understand.
My son and I had a very tight relationship, and Jay would tell me everything when nobody else was around. I knew my son inside and out. And I just don't, as a mother, as a grandmother, having 4 babies of my own.
It looks like it's going to be a tough one because Ms. Reinhardt isn't even on the fence about it. She's totally confident the baby is not her grandchild. But why?
Became inseparable. We, developed, feelings, and it did happen all too fast. He did ask me to be his girlfriend, and we did have unprotected sex as well. So there's no doubt in my mind that Jay's the father. I did not sleep with anybody else in that time when I was with him.
How could she possibly be so sure? Although her relationship with JC was fast-paced, the progression was pretty normal. 2 people met, fell in love, slept together, and the woman got pregnant. Ms. Crow's story is quite convincing.
Well, that's your own opinion.
That's your own opinion. The mental capacity of a 16-year-old.
And this and you know what? He had feelings.
He was schizophrenic.
He had feelings.
He was schizophrenic, and he had.
And I took care of him.
And my son.
I didn't leave him because of that.
Now this is hilarious for so many reasons. Ms. Reinhardt's little technique to identify her grandchildren is just ridiculous. Besides, the pictures look identical, don't they? That baby looks like grandma to me. But again, we cannot be so sure.
Silly sense of humor like Jay. He likes to dance like Jay. And, just right there, you can see it. Like his hair, that is Jay. And, there are things about him that are a lot like me.
Ms. Reinhardt says the baby doesn't look like her, and Ms. Crow's like, that's okay because the baby looks like his father. Even though both metrics don't matter in the long run, Ms. Crow currently has the upper hand.
I have a bowed left leg. My daughter has a bowed left leg. JC was pigeon-toed from birth. So JC lived being severely pigeon-toed all his life.
And you believe this baby does not have that characteristic, which furthers your doubt.
Here we go again with all the features. Can we please cut to the chase and be serious for once? This is no joking matter. This grandma needs to understand that the case is more serious than this.
That we would come across friends, but we didn't know he had conversations with, pregnant with my baby. He's really happy. He's excited. He never denied my child. And I knew for a fact that, he's the father because I haven't been with anybody else.
Ms. Crow made a good choice in breaking up with JC for the safety of herself and her 2 other kids. Nobody mentioned these kids until now. Guess they're not so relevant to the case.
of another man that
My
she was
boyfriend.
with.
That's not his father. He was Jamaican. Does he look half Jamaican? And you know, I lost my father the same year my son lost his father. So there's no reason why I would be up here for no reason. I'm doing this for my son.
You can tell Ms. Reinhardt is trying so hard to look for proof that the baby's not JC's. Now she brings up the issue of Ms. Crow's Jamaican boyfriend when the baby doesn't even look the least bit Jamaican.
Okay, good for
I
you.
was there for 2 hours with his best friend.
I didn't want to go and be around you. You see how you act?
Now that is one tough question. You broke up with the man and he only hung out with his son once. You had 9 months before he passed, but didn't do anything until you saw his obituary?
I didn't even know when the baby was born because I wasn't in contact.
Jay knew.
Jay knew. He's
knew.
supposedly the alleged father, not.
It don't have to be alleged because we're gonna find out today.
So
You're gonna
listen.
see for yourself.
Yes, we are.
I can let my scab.
It is glaring how much these two women can't stand themselves. And it is sad because they're losing sight of what matters at the moment, the baby. Their arguments are both valid, but the baby's paternity is at stake.
That's your son.
He was mad with me because he believed that I was stealing his money. I was the one making sure his bills were paid. I was the one making sure he had a.
But when she left and he was evicted,
he had a
and I was
two-bedroom-
there and he had no money, he didn't have
He
nowhere
had
to go.
money all
I
the-
paid for him a place to stay.
Good question, because we can't push all the blame on Ms. Crow. Ms. Reinhardt was his mother at the end of the day. And if indeed he had the mental capacity of a 16-year-old, how did she leave him all alone?
This is serious because JC is gone now.
Yeah,
he's no longer with us, but this baby, who's potentially his biological child, is here, 2 years old. Only seen his father one time, and the mother.
The two women could keep going on and on and on, but there's no time for that. It's time to see what the results say, so Ms. Crow will know if she's getting those death benefits or not. Please read the results out, Judge Lake, and let us resolve this case once and for all.
It has been determined by this court the percentage of relatedness between Ms. Reinhardt and Thomas is 99.6% you are related.
Ms. Prowell is requesting the court to award her $475 in back child care support in case one of 3 men is identified as her baby's biological father. Mr. Morton, one of the men on the list, believes he should be excluded because there are too many potential fathers for it to be him.
I was under the impression that was, me and her pretty much against the world, I've come to find out that she slept around with one guy, then another guy. I'm just perplexed about the situation. I don't know.
So, Ms. Prowell and Mr. Morton were in a relationship, and Mr. Morton wouldn't have doubted Ethan's paternity if he didn't find out she had been sleeping around with several other men. Let's hear Ms. Prowell's side of the story.
Going wonderful in the beginning. Now, a couple of months in, I'm finding out there's another woman.
What evidence do you have of that?
On his Twitter account. He's talking to a young lady.
Here we go again with the revenge sex trope. When are couples ever going to learn that this doesn't solve anything? She thought he was cheating, so she went ahead to cheat. Now there's a baby, and nobody knows who his father is?
Before he did so, he asked me, was I involved with Miss Prowell? Now, I told him yes.
But you're listening to other people, though. You're listening to other people.
I hope you don't get too serious with her.
Okay, this woman is hilarious. You're upset that he believed someone who told him you were cheating, yet you admit it's true. So what's your issue, ma'am? The point is, you were cheating on him with this, Mr. Gaddis, and that's it.
Didn't know, lied to me, obviously. I don't think I'm the father, because we only messed around a few times. I didn't hear from her for months. I didn't know she was pregnant until Desmond told me in passing.
Wow, Ms. Prowell sure knows how to lie to men. Mr. Gaddis, who is also a potential father, is denying the paternity of the child and even had no idea she was pregnant. They had a fling a long time ago, and to him that ship has long sailed. So this baby issue doesn't seem to concern him much.
I do want to say for the record, I'm very remorseful for what I did because that was totally out of fight. That's what it was. I did it because I found out he was messing around with someone else.
She claims to have been drunk when the thing with Mr. Gaddis happened. But the thing with the third guy, Mr. Lowry, was very intentional and she had done it out of spite. Like Judge Lauren just said, 3 wrongs do not make a right.
If you knew we had sex more than once, why wasn't I hit up for this? Like, why weren't I called?
Can I say something, Your Honor?
I'm talking now.
Can I say something, Your Honor?
Never.
This all makes sense now knowing that they're teenagers. What does Ms. Prowell mean by not wanting Mr. Lowry to be her child's father? If you didn't want him to be, you shouldn't have slept with him in the first place because now it's not in your control.
During our relationship, sometime on the 17th, and I slept with him.
Okay, move on.
I'm on the red. When I slept with Mr. Gaddis at a party.
My My goodness, how is this girl not embarrassed? She slept with 3 coworkers in like the same week, and she's here like she's some math teacher teaching the court how to read a calendar.
Mr. Morton was in the hospital with me. However, after me giving birth and they moved me to my stable room, he left and didn't come back.
Does Ms. Prowl think she's in the right? Does she really believe anyone's going to be on her side after everything she's just admitted? It's a good thing Mr. Morton didn't sign that birth certificate. At least he held her hand while she gave birth to the baby. It's proof that he cares for her.
And why didn't you call him?
How can we help if we don't hear about the kid?
The father. I didn't want him to know.
It doesn't matter. If that's my kid, you should have to call me to let me know.
This is what I want to know.
Imagine trying to make a choice now. What a joke. Since when did knowing how to change a diaper become a criterion for being a father? How many men, or people in general, know how to change a diaper before having a kid? It's clear Ms. Prowl doesn't fancy Mr. Lowry very much. Wish she had considered that before having revenge sex with him.
Okay. It's a percentage that is your child, is that it isn't your child. Regardless, no one should hold it against this child.
But your point is you don't feel like any of the men truly stepped up.
Did Ms. Prowl and her neighbor expect all the men to be knocking at her door, begging to take care of the child when they weren't even sure if the child was theirs? It doesn't work that way. Good thing it's only been 6 weeks, and from here on out, whoever the father is will have to step up.
Here, you take some responsibility yourself for where you and your baby are today. I'm not saying they got it all the way right. All of you silly, because you're teenagers, you're young, you have no business even having baby. If you don't require that they protect themselves.
Bet she wasn't expecting that outburst from Judge Lauren. Let's end this whole thing and find out who Ethan's father is. The results are in.
The father is Mr. Morton. Are those tears of joy or just relief?
I do feel remorseful.
When Mr. Carr walks into court, he has a good case and is even more sure that he is not Trinity's father. He says Ms. Villa broke up with him many times and blamed him for the child while avoiding a DNA test for 3 years. Today he's going to get the truth.
All right, Mr. Carr, you say you had to open up today's case.
Yes, Your Honor.
Tell the court why.
Your Honor, because her nickname is Heartbreaker.
What does that
From
have
the
anything to
beginning
do with
of the
Trinity?
relationships that we had together, she was a liar, a cheater.
Things go crazy from here on out. Ms. Villa says she cheated on Mr. Carr, but she still wants him back. She thinks that they can move forward as a family once the tests show that he is the father. The judge still doesn't believe it.
That is a huge jump, Jerome. A jump with a capital J. And it turned into a relationship from just meeting on Facebook.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so you all decided, what is this, love at first sight for you all? Like,
Oh, Mr. Carr is definitely pissed to his bone. He says Ms. Villa cheated on him 8 times with 8 different guys. Even though she tries to hide it, everyone already knows the truth. What makes him think he can trust what she says?
She cheated 8 different times with 8 different people.
8 different times with 8 different people?
Yes, Mom. Yes, Your Honor.
In the beginning, no.
Hold on.
You're a liar.
Wait a minute. She cheated on you 8 different times with 8 different people?
Yes, Mom.
No, that's not how it went.
When the date of conception is called into question, things get even more confusing. Mr. Carr says Ms. Villa slept with someone else on January 31st and then with him on February 14th. But 3 days after that, she told him she was pregnant. That math doesn't make sense.
On February the 14th, 3 days later, the 17th, she tells me that she's pregnant. I'm like, how are you pregnant?
Tony, you're a liar.
If we just slept together on the 14th, then how did you know that you're pregnant? How in the world do you know that you're pregnant?
You told me I was
So
pregnant.
you
You're a
have
liar.
sex 3 days later and she tells you, now I'm pregnant.
Then, the shock from the back seat. She says she and Mr. Carr got pregnant while having sex in the back of a car while his friend was driving. This information is dropped so lightly that the judge can't believe it.
While he was driving? And that's the day you think Trinity was conceived? With Mr. Carr? In the car?
Yes.
The back of the car?
It was me and him having sex.
Right, but you say that's not the case.
I don't believe that's the case because of the 31st of January is when she slept with
Mr. Carr is still not sure. He says Trinity wouldn't have been born on October 31st if she had been conceived on February 14th. That would have been 3 weeks too early. But Ms. Villa says her due date was actually November 21st, which means Trinity was born before it was time.
But Mr. Carr, you aren't so sure.
I'm not so sure, Your Honor. And it's hurtful because I have to
Mr.
live with
Carr-
this pain every single day.
Tony, you chose
trying
to do that.
Think,
You were there on and off, on and off.
Anyways.
So Trinity, wait, Wait, Trinity is 3 years old. Do you have a relationship with her?
Yes, Your Honor.
Then everything changes in a big way. When Ms. Villa's best friend is called to the stand, she tells everything. She says that Ms. Villa had a one-night stand with another guy during the time when they were meant to be together. The story gets stronger.
And I'm not going to accept you just painting that picture of her, because I know there has to be a yin to this yang. And I want to understand the type of relationship you've built with this beautiful little girl over the past 3 years.
Mr. Carr goes crazy. For years, he has begged Ms. Villa to give him a DNA test, but she has always dodged the question. Everything is clear. She changed cities every time he tried to find out the truth. The judge doesn't like it.
I think we also have to be honest about the fact that you look at her and you see her smile. If we're being very honest, you also look and say, I wonder if she's mine. And that's also the pain behind those tears.
Yes, Mom. It's both ways. It's like a two-edged sword.
Then came the worst kind of betrayal. Ms. Villa says she got the idea for Trinity's middle name from a one-night stand. Mr. Carr is very sad. Now that 3 years have passed, he doesn't even know if this child is his.
You've actually brought an exhibit with you to court that outlines this testimony.
Yes, Mom.
Can you please step up to the monitor and let's review this exhibit? So you say she's been running away from a DNA test.
Yes, Your Honor. I was in Alabama. She was in Tampa, Florida.
The results are in. Everyone in the courtroom holds their breath. After years of questions, Mr. Carr, you are the father. He explodes with happiness and relief as he breaks down.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Carr, you are the father. Are you happy?
I'm ecstatic.
Good.
Yes, Mom. I finally got my closure.
The world is definitely about to end when you find yourself in a situation of having to pick between your wife and mistress. Mr. Stewart's mistress, Ms. Dallas, says that he is the father of her child, but he is refusing to accept that so he can keep his marriage together. Here's how the case begins.
Ms. Dallas, you have dragged the defendant, Mr. Stewart, into court today to prove that he is the father of your newborn son, 1-month-old Lamar. You say you are shocked that he's denying he's baby Lamar's biological dad.
Those are big words to be throwing about in a courtroom. But what's shocking is that Ms. Dallas says that Mr. Stewart has been living a double life. Does that mean she never knew he had a wife? Or could she be the one living the double life?
I met Cedric with Mr. Stewart in June of 2016. I was out having breakfast with my friend probably about 6 o'clock in the morning. And he walked up to me or whatever, offered to pay for my breakfast or whatever. After that, we exchanged numbers, and from there, we hooked.
I think our question has been answered. Mr. Stewart is the one living the double life. It's insane that she had to find out he had a wife through that. I mean, if he wants to live that sort of life, why get married? Some men are just nothing but problems for real.
You know, it didn't come up. You know, I felt like it didn't come up. Like, you know.
How did it not come up? That's relevant information, is it not?
Yeah, true that. Yes, Your Honor.
So wait, you were basically out acting like a single man?
No, I wasn't acting. Yes, Your Honor. Sorry about that.
I'm glad you just went on ahead and told it.
In his head, this man has got to be joking. It doesn't even feel like he feels bad for cheating on his wife. If they are actually getting a divorce, I am happy for his wife. It seems to me that he wasn't ready to be in a very committed relationship with Ms. Dallas.
You have second thoughts about dating a married man?
Yes, I did have second thoughts, but once everything started hitting the floor, like, I was already pregnant. You know what I'm saying? I love Cedric, you know, and he was telling me, like, I'm gonna do a divorce, we're gonna have a house, you know, all this, we're gonna raise our son together, you know. I was believing him because that's all I had to do was believe him.
I think his new name should be the Smooth Talker, rather than Mr. Stewart, because he sure sold the perfect dream to Ms. Dallas. He had her believing that he would get a divorce and they would raise their child together. Yeah, right. Ms. Dallas should have known better. I mean, he was basically cheating on his wife with her.
Getting in doubt, so-called my associate was telling him and his wife that I was sleeping around with multiple men when I conceived Lamar.
Someone that knew you.
Yeah.
They start giving you information.
Yeah. But it was the same friend that sent him naked pictures of herself to him, telling him that I was.
So everybody wants to sleep with Mr. Stewart. I see. This man needs to be whooped. First, he has a wife. Then he goes to have a mistress and get her pregnant. Now the coworker is sending him nude pictures of herself. He is definitely not telling the truth. Something just doesn't sound right.
So at what point do you have to come clean with your wife about this baby?
I told her.
Picture of
Because
script.
when me and
I still
Cedric
got
were supposed to
pictures.
be together, Roberta sent me a picture of him and Cedric in the bed. Now Cedric has my name tattooed on him. She sent me a picture. She sent me a picture of him and her.
Oh, it's now a tit for tat kind of thing? Now that is crazy. How are these grown-up women acting like they are in high school? There's a child's life at stake for crying out loud. I'm honestly disappointed in all of them. They should know better. Oh, his wife is not here to fool around at all. Her attitude says it all. She says that Ms. Dallas knew very early that Mr. Stewart was married, and she went on to have a relationship with him anyway. She even says she has proof to back up her claims.
How they met? Cedric met her online.
Okay. And so you believe he was actually looking for
Exactly.
a relationship outside the marriage?
I wouldn't say a relationship, but
Relations.
Exactly.
Do you believe Miss Dallas knew he was married?
Wow. From what she just said, it seems like Mr. Stewart was actually done with his wife and wanted to be with Ms. Dallas. Explains the look on his wife's face because
Miss Stewart, you believe that Miss Dallas was having sex with multiple men.
Exactly.
In addition to your husband.
Exactly.
And that's why you doubt that this child is your husband's biological child.
Exactly.
Miss Dallas, were you intimate with
I'm guessing she had no idea all of this was going on. I guess that answers that question. His wife clearly had no idea all of this was going on. Mr. Stewart even admits that he knows her other kids and they have been together for quite some time to build relationships with all of them. Wow.
She got other kids, you know what I mean? I got a relationship with them, you know, so I wouldn't just be gone.
Wait a minute, now you standing next to your wife and you telling me how you gonna be there for your mistress. I'm getting confused. Who are you actually with right now? Who are you with?
Drama queens. Two drama queens who have both been played by one man. It's surprising and sad that they are both fighting for the same man who lied and slept with both of them. It's insane that they are fighting each other when they should be fighting Mr. Stewart.
Roberta knows what Roberta has to do for herself at this point. Cedric has 3 children of his own that he has neglected to take care of her children.
No, that's not true, because me and him take the baby over there and my other kids to go see his daughter and his son. You always say that, Roberta. No, you're not going to do him like that.
I don't even know what to say. Is his wife mad at him for sleeping with someone out of their marriage? Or is she mad because she feels like Ms. Dallas's child does not belong to him? I'm genuinely confused. Oh well, let the DNA results clear the air. Here they come. The air.
Mr. Stewart, you are the father.
Hey, I told you, baby. I told you.
Ms. Dallas, I see you are in because
I go through so much with him.
There's always a first time for everything in this courtroom. It's honestly very rare that a daughter and father both believe that the mom is hiding the real identity of the daughter's true father. Well, Mr. Horton says regardless of his doubt, he raised Miss Horton like his baby girl.
He's not your biological father, and yet you're hoping that he is.
I'm praying, yes.
I'm hoping she is too, but right here every day. She's not your daughter. Why you taking care of her? Why you taking her? You know when I was running around. You know blah, 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 I hear it all the time.
You hear this all the time?
Yeah, all the time.
Well, I think we're starting to see where the problem is coming from. Mr. Horton says that Ms. Conrad was sleeping with several other men when they were intimate with each other, so he finds it hard to believe that Ms. Horton is truly his daughter.
One time we were in the house, I acted like I was going to work at an apartment across the street and walked around the back and snuck in the basement. She was sneaking out the door to go across the street with some guy. One time we lived in an apartment, and a friend of mine, we were sitting there partying, and I seen him give me the eye. And I said, I'm not stupid. That's okay, so I went act like I was going to bed. I heard the door shut, real quiet. I knocked on the door. I said, let me in.
At least she admits to sleeping around and cheating with Mr. Horton. That's off the table. But what she says is that the timing of when she slept with these men is wrong. And that's what is making Mr. Horton believe he is not the father of her daughter.
If there's many stuck out of it in her, she'd be a porcupine. And that's the way I look at it.
That was I just got that. Okay, we want to be respectful in the courtroom.
I'm trying to be respectful. That's why I put it nicely.
Miss Conrad, this is really upsetting you now. Why?
Yeah, because it's not true.
It is so true.
I'm not like that.
Damn, I can't believe he actually just described Miss Conrad in such a manner. I mean, we get the fact that she was sleeping around with other men, but he has no right to call her names in the courtroom. He better watch his mouth.
Can I say something, please? Sometimes I be having doubts because I look at my face, and I've been trying for years, to get a DNA test, but I wasn't able to at the time because my mom didn't feel comfortable going. But I can understand my mom because she don't want any trouble, and I'm not here to, make anybody upset or nothing. But
it's really that simple. But it's sad that she has to be in between her father and mother. Ms. Morton expresses to the judge that she doesn't want to cause any trouble between Mr. Horton and Ms. Conrad. All she wants is to know if Mr. Horton is her actual dad. poor girl.
Especially as judge of this courtroom, is that everyone has a side. And there are parts of their sides of the story that make sense. You know, our jury is the DNA, which means that's going to be the deciding factor.
Yes, ma'am. Look, I didn't bring her here, Miss Judge. I didn't bring Miss Conrad here. She was the one that called the court. I had
I'm the
nothing
one
to
I
do with
called.
it.
But I want to say this to you. The paternity question is important to resolve.
Judge Lauren could not have said it any better. No 26-year-old should actually have to look in the mirror and try to figure out if her dad is really her dad. I blame Ms. Conrad and Mr. Horton. They should have done better with the truth before she became a full-grown adult.
My daughter has blonde hair. The man would have blonde hair. The man would have blue eyes. My daughter's got blue eyes. The birthmark, I call it, or beauty mark, whatever you want to call it, had the same mark, the same spot. I don't know for sure, but I've heard. That's the only one I don't know for sure. The rest of them I can tell you I knew for sure.
So this mailman delivered your mail every day?
Yes.
And has blonde hair, blue eyes, and a birthmark?
Yes.
The same features as your daughter?
Yes.
Man, that is one hell of a confession. Mr. Horton displays evidence that shows that the man who brought in his mails had the exact same features that his daughter currently has, and it was rumored that Ms. Conrad was kicking it in bed with his said mailman. Wow.
Recommended
Did I
when
see
they
any
were in
papers?
foster care.
Did I see any
Let
papers?
alone who I slept with.
Excuse
Hold on. Basically, Mr. Horton believes that this man, this mailman, with blonde hair, blue eyes, and a birthmark in pretty much the same position as your daughter's could potentially be your daughter's father. You're saying that's not true.
Yes, Your Honor.
That sounds like a fat-ass lie. There's no way that a DNA test was performed on a child and she wouldn't have a copy as evidence. She says the result from the DNA test revealed that Mr. Horton was the father, but as you'd expect, he says that's a lie and he never saw any papers.
Father saying, from the day you were born, he has always questioned paternity. Have you felt that growing up?
Honestly, no. Oh, not at all.
You never felt it?
I never felt it, but as I got older, like when I turned like, I would say 25, I kind of did have doubts, but my boyfriend said I looked like him. A lot of him said I looked like him.
Looks like this whole problem started with Ms. Horton having blue eyes. The crazy thing is that even with all his doubts, Mr. Horton never made Ms. Horton feel any type of way. He always loved her and made sure she felt like his daughter.
Years, she may have gotten bits and pieces of things. The milkman baby joke. You don't look like daddy. Her looking at her own self in the mirror. And what I'm saying is circumstantially, she has put together pretty much a case where she doesn't know if the man she has always thought is her father.
There's no doubt about that. Right from the moment the case began, Ms. Horton had tears in her eyes. That just goes to show you how hurt she is by the situation. I think it's time we get to the results. Let's know the truth once and for all.
Mr. Horton, you are the father.
Oh my God, yes! Mommy, you were right!
Ms. Lindsay says that after years of lies and uncertainty from her mother about the true identity of her father, she claims to have finally found him. She says that everyone, including his family members, knows he is her father, and she intends on proving that in court. She opens her case by starting like this.
Ms. Lindsay, you say that after years of lies from your mother and uncertainty about who your father is, you believe you finally found him.
Yes, Your Honor.
You say everyone in town, including his family, knows Mr. Dannenbrink is your father, and you intend to prove that today. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Well, it seems like the man Ms. Lindsay brought to the courtroom does not believe he is her father. Mr. Dannenbrink, the supposed father, says that he and Ms. Lindsay's mother were in an on and off sexual relationship, IAP, and she would always disappear after they had sex.
Okay, so about 35 years ago, my mom does admit to having a child with Mr. Dannenbrink. And
how many years ago?
About 35, around there.
Okay.
And when I was about 16 years old, an ex of Mr. Dannenbrink's came to my house and accused me of being the child that they had had together. And when I had asked my mother about that, she told me no, that it wasn't true.
Wow. I think we're starting to understand why Ms. Lindsay's mother was always running away after she spent time with Mr. Dannenbrink. Ms. Lindsay says that an ex of Mr. Dannenbrink accused her of being the baby that ruined her relationship with Mr. Dannenbrink.
But you'd never met that man?
No, I still haven't, so I don't know who that is.
Okay, proceed.
So about 4 or 5 years ago, we all pretty much met up again in church, and I knew that Mr. Dannenbrink was the person that I had thought, or at least was accused of being the child of, but I was too nervous to approach him for pretty much rejection, and so I just left it alone, and then my mother and him had started talking again.
That's something I never thought I'd hear. Imagine the man you believe to be your father is your next door neighbor. That's crazy. Well, Ms. Lindsay admits that they eventually built a relationship and got to spend time with each other when Mr. Dannenbrink and her mother got talking again.
Miss Hampton?
Yes.
What was the nature of the relationship with Mr. Dannenbrink? Were you just dating, committed?
Your Honor, this was like in the late 70s, and we dated off and on, and I was involved with somebody else, and he was involved with somebody else. 5 years ago, we met back up and started having conversation.
That's surprising. So technically, Mr. Dannenbrink and Ms. Hampton, who happens to be Ms. Lindsay's mother, don't hate each other at all. They are actually best friends. That's something you definitely don't see that every day. That explains why Mr. Dannenbrink has a good relationship with her daughter.
Did you know about the pregnancy?
I did not, Your Honor. She never told me that she was pregnant. She never told me I even had a child.
You didn't tell him you were
Your
pregnant?
Honor, I had no reason to tell him because he's not father.
So you were confident of that?
Yes, I am 100%.
But were you sleeping with Mr. Dannenbrink during the window of conception?
She seems to be very confident with that answer. Mr. Dannenbrink tells the judge that he never knew she was pregnant, and Ms. Hampton admits that she never told him because she knew for a fact that he was not the father of her baby.
Your Honor, she was born at 5 1/4 pounds.
All of your children have been small.
She was premature.
Mr. Dannenbrink?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you agree with the dates set forth on this calendar?
I really couldn't tell you because back then it was hectic. I mean, I had so much going on.
Aha! Now we know what he means when he said it was best hectic. Mr. Dannenbrink was doing drugs and having a lot of sex back in the day that he can't remember the exact period he slept with Ms. Hampton, leading to Ms. Lindsay's conception.
A relationship with Miss Hampton last?
We got together. We were together for maybe a couple of weeks, and then she disappeared. And then we meet again a few years later. So it was like that.
So you all just were kind of sex partners?
Yes.
Just
correct, Your Honor.
Whatever.
Yes, Your Honor.
I don't know. What's the word?
Looks like we have a new word in the courtroom. At least Ms. Hampton and Mr. Dannenbrink both agree that their relationship had nothing to do with love. It was all about sex. Interesting.
The doctors did say that I was born a month early, but they also said that I was going to be a boy the entire time she was pregnant with me. So they could have been wrong. Second thing, my mom does admit to having a child with Mr. Dannenbrink. Throughout my life, though, the dates have kind of changed a little bit. I remember at one time it was that she was an older sister.
That's said if it's actually true. Ms. Lindsay believes that her mother had a child from Mr. Dannenbrink. But here's the thing. Ms. Hampton admits to having a child from Mr. Dannenbrink, but also says that it was a stillbirth, and she never told Mr. Dannenbrink about it.
Public records place, there's no proof of her birth or death.
I don't know why there wouldn't be any record of her birth and death, but I do have an autopsy report.
Have you seen this report?
No, because it's not the first time. She didn't technically lie about another brother, but she didn't tell me about another brother. She got pregnant and gave him up for adoption.
Wait, what? She thought he died? She thought her Don died? Wow. She has to be the worst mother on the planet for saying something like that. No wonder Ms. Lindsay does not believe anything that comes out of her mouth.
I had a big hole and I filled it with a lot of things that probably weren't the right things to fill it with. I'm still searching for that father figure. I had a stepdad at one point that abandoned me as well, so.
And so you had a relationship?
Yes.
With your stepfather?
For a small time until he had his own child with my mom, and then I still was the stepchild.
Man. This has to be the most complicated thing I have ever heard. Ms. Lindsay says that growing up without a dad was the worst thing ever. But she had a best friend who has always been there, and what's funny is that the best friend is Mr. Dannenbrink's son.
All were good friends?
Yes.
Just friends, I hope.
Yes, Your Honor. That go through my head, trust and believe me. Not knowing exactly who my dad is, it does go through my head as to which ones I've dated might have been. So I just try not to think about that.
If she dated her brother and found out, that would have been crazy, honestly. Well, the moment of truth is here. The DNA results are in, and it's time to know if Ms. Hampton has been lying all while. Here are the results.
Mr. Dannenbrink, you are not her father.
Mrs. Casey has been married to the defendant, Mr. Hatfill, for less than a year, but she says that due to her husband's trust issues, she feels like they might not make it to their 1-year anniversary if she can't prove that he is the biological father of her child. Trust me, it's a very crazy case. Here's how it begins.
Mrs. Casey, you've been married to the defendant for less than a year. Due to your husband's trust issues, you're worried you won't make it to your 1-year anniversary if you don't prove he is the biological father of your son, Jacob Hatfield. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Hatfield, you say sleeping with the babysitter landed you in a marriage with someone you don't trust. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Hatfield, did you have a good relationship before the marriage?
Yeah.
Well, I guess we know where the problem originated from. Mr. Hatfill admits that he has a good relationship with Mrs. Casey, but he claims to have trust issues, and the fact that she did not tell him when she stopped birth control just made it difficult to keep trusting her.
I had started babysitting for his family. I saw him, thinking he was a cute guy, and we started chit-chatting, and they told me the rules. It was, no running in and out of the house because it was hot that day, the air conditioner was on. Make sure the kids don't go in and out of the house, and no sleeping with the babysitter on duty.
If you ask me, they seem to really love each other. Mrs. Casey was the babysitter for his kids. One thing leads to another, and they start to sleep with each other. Soon after, they fell in love and got married. Sounds like a Disney fairy tale. Oh well, it was love at first sight for Mrs. Casey.
How did you get to a place where you thought she actually had slept with someone and Jacob may not be your biological son?
By coming across text messages in her phone.
Oh.
I have.
You've brought some to court?
Brought some to
Jerome,
court.
may I see that evidence, please? Thank you.
You're welcome. They would be to Miss Casey from somebody she was with.
That right there is how you make a man with trust issues stop trusting you. Mr. Hatfill presents evidence that shows that Mrs. Casey was texting another man, and in the text, he asked her when he could come over to see her. Let's not forget the fact that she was already pregnant with Mr. Hatfill's baby.
You remember these text messages? You recognize them?
Sorta, kinda, yes.
So who could it be, sorta, kinda?
This guy had messaged me, asked me to be his mistress whenever he got married.
Given the fact that he has trust issues, I'm not even surprised that he doesn't believe she did not respond. Mrs. Casey says that the guy texting her was an ex who wanted her to be his mistress, and she kept telling him no. But Mr. Hatfill just isn't buying that story.
Parents' house, and I was sitting in the garage with one of her family members when the guy in question.
Mrs. Casey has a lot of explaining to do because the things Mr. Hatfill is saying in the courtroom are mind-blowing. It looks like her ex really wanted her to be his mistress. I mean, what other reason would he have to come to their house at 1 a.m? I'm not even surprised he doesn't believe her.
Unless they're interested in sleeping with her again and looking for her.
He was looking to take my family member's girlfriend at the time home.
Not at 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning when he come by, it was your name he was saying.
Phew, I've got to agree with Judge Lauren on that one. The real juice in this case is starting to come out, and I love it. Mrs. Casey accuses Mr. Hatfill of cheating and sending naked pictures of himself to other women.
I've never once cheated on him in the 3 years.
So why is it when we saw those text messages, we don't see a text that comes after that goes, "Stop texting me, I'm married"?
Because he had blocked me on Facebook. I had blocked him, he blocked me.
How you gonna block somebody and you're waiting for them to respond to see if you can come over and have sex with them? That doesn't even make good sense.
Because his girlfriend had found the messages.
The story just keeps going in twists and turns. It's almost as if she's lying. But Mrs. Casey says that she has never once cheated on Mr. Hatfill in the 3 years that she has known him and been in love with him. It's really messy, believe me.
I'm fair-skinned. It doesn't have to be the dad's. He doesn't have to be, like, if you would...
What color hair does this other guy have, since you say
brown
it doesn't look like you?
When he was younger, it was sandy, strawberry blonde. Now it's a little bit more brown during more time he spends in the sun.
It's honestly hard to believe that these two were ever happy. All they've done in this courtroom is argue about everything. Mr. Hatfill says that he isn't denying the baby. He just wants to know if he is the father. Mrs. Casey snaps back and says that he and his family have been denying the baby since it was 2 weeks old.
So I know how to take care of this.
And these doubts started to occur during her pregnancy?
Yes.
And so throughout the pregnancy, you had doubts?
Once I started having doubts, it came to a point to where a month or two later, I basically broke it off with her.
Man, you can see the betrayal in her eyes, and you can hear it in her voice. It's as if from the moment Mr. Hatfill started to have doubts, he stopped treating Mrs. Casey like his wife. I can't believe he slept with another woman while she was pregnant with his child.
Mr. Hatfill, you said there's also medical reasons why you believe you are not Jacob's biological father.
Jacob has one kidney. He's had to have surgery. He has to see a urologist every 6 months to once a year now. I've been there every step of the way from birth to now with the...
It's good to see that he wants things to be better for both of their children. He says that the fights and arguments make the kids act funny towards strangers, and they don't want to listen when they speak to them. That's not good, honestly.
And here, I believe Mr. Hatfill testified that Jacob does not have any such mutation. Is that correct?
Correct.
And so given that fact, how does this relate to the possibility that this could affect his doubt?
Phew, that's a lot of explanation. At this point, I think it's fine we get the results from the DNA test. Clearly, Mr. Hatfill and Mrs. Casey still don't agree. Hopefully, the results can help them settle their differences.
Mr. Hatfill, you are the father.
Ms. Allen claims that the defendant, Mr. Tolliver, got her pregnant and he now refuses to do anything for her daughter. The sad part is that her daughter has been diagnosed with severe allergies and she needs support financially. Mr. Tolliver and his girlfriend, on the other hand, claim that he is 100% certain that he is not the father of the child. The case begins like this.
Ms. Allen, you claim the defendant got you pregnant and now refuses to do anything for your 2-year-old daughter, Novella, who's been diagnosed with severe allergies, leaving you in financial and emotional distress.
Mr. Tolliver really wants nothing to do with her child. He hasn't done a single thing for the baby since she came into the world. No child support, no visits, no nothing. Wow, I wonder how they found themselves in such a situation.
I tried to get her to do a DNA test. For instance, just the other day, said she's not going to do the test.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you been avoiding the test, Ms. Allen?
No, I haven't not been avoiding the test.
Why haven't you taken it if he's volunteering?
He's the reason why.
Oh, she can't be serious with what she just said? She doesn't feel comfortable around him but was able to get pregnant for him? Yeah, right. Something definitely smells fishy with her story, and she is not being truthful.
Acting like she wants to get back with me. She loves me and she misses me, but then when she's in a relationship, I don't hear anything from her. You know,
Wait, let me just go back first. Before we jump into this, I want to make sure I understand. You two were in a sexual relationship at some point.
Yes.
Am I correct?
Yes.
Which is it? Were they together or not? They can't even bring each other to agree on anything. Mr. Tolliver says that he was never in a committed relationship with Ms. Allen, while she claims that they were in a committed relationship. Phew, two confused people.
She says, I had intercourse with my boyfriend, my ex-boyfriend last night, and then you had intercourse with her that night.
Yes, we were having drinks and talking, and I don't want to hear about that. You know, I don't want to hear who you had sex with, but I mean, you know, alcohol does that. Alcohol opens people up. That's what she told me.
It's really that simple. Mr. Tolliver tells the judge that the day they had sex, she told him that she slept with her ex the previous day, and that makes him believe he is not the father. Well, as long as the sex was unprotected, he is a possible father.
Text messages and phone calls that this other guy here is this is going to be Novella's father.
Wait. When did that come out?
This was when she was in the hospital. The guy in the hospital.
Let me see those,
with
please,
her.
Jerome.
And supposedly, you know, she's saying it, and it's on the Facebook.
What are these pictures of, Mr. Tolliver?
That is actually crazy. Apparently, while Ms. Allen was in the hospital trying to have the baby, the other guy she was intimate with was in the hospital with her. And she told Mr. Tolliver that the guy in the hospital with her was the father of the child. I'm even surprised he has doubts.
I mean, I have a message on Facebook here where he's claiming her as his little girl, you know.
This piece of evidence is what? A picture of...
That's the guy that she was seeing at the time with Novella, you know, as in claiming as his daughter.
It does seem that way. I mean, he was in the hospital when their child was born. The same guy is claiming the child on Facebook, saying that his child is learning so fast. Come on. Anybody who sees that would honestly think that guy is the father of the baby.
I think it's just wrong to toss a kid around like that. She needs to find out who the real father is. She should have done it in the beginning. That's how I feel.
I mean, if she would give me, you know, proof that I am the father, then it'd be totally different. But I can't just change my life because...
Well, her previous boyfriends are not here to defend themselves, so I guess we'd take his word on that. Mr. Tolliver says that he doesn't mind taking care of the child, but he needs to know the baby actually belongs to him, and it's not a situation of Ms. Allen trying to get back with him by using the baby.
Explain.
She has allergy problems. I'm constantly going back and forth to the doctors with her. She's allergic to just about anything you can be allergic to. Pecans, pine trees, oak trees, apples, rice, you name it, she's allergic to it.
That can't be easy both emotionally and financially. Ms. Allen says that her daughter is allergic to almost anything you can be allergic to, and she has been taking care of her child all by herself. No mother should have to go through any of that all by themselves.
You hear that, Mr. Tolliver?
Yes, ma'am, and that's...
Do you believe that when she says it, or do you think
no,
she's
because
just...
I've been going through this for 2 years, on and off for 2 years, every couple months.
I've moved on. I don't want you in my life.
And Ms. Bowl, you're in a relationship with Mr. Tolliver?
Yes, I am.
And how do you deal with all this?
I mean, if it's not his daughter...
It's funny that Ms. Allen says that she doesn't want anything to do with Mr. Tolliver, but texts him saying that she misses him and loves him, knowing fully well that he is in a committed relationship with another person. Phew! Let's get to the results. We've seen just about enough.
Mr. Tolliver, you are her father.
Okay.
Are you happy?
A little bit, yes, ma'am.
Just a little happy.
Ms. Morton is requesting the court to award her $475 in back child care support in case one of 3 men is identified as her baby's biological father. Mr. Prowell, one of the men on the list, believes he should be excluded because there are too many potential fathers for it to be him.
In this situation, I was under the impression that was, me and her pretty much against the world, I've come to find out that she's slept around with one guy, then another guy.
So Ms. Morton and Mr. Prowell were in a relationship, and Mr. Prowell Prowell wouldn't have doubted Ethan's paternity if he didn't find out she had been sleeping around with several other men. Let's hear Ms. Prowell's side of the story.
The relationship was going wonderful in the beginning. Now, a couple of months in, I'm finding out there's another woman.
What evidence do you have of that?
On his Twitter account.
Here we go again with the revenge sex trope. When are couples ever going to learn that this doesn't solve anything? She thought he was cheating, so she went ahead to cheat. Now there's a baby, and nobody knows who his father is.
He asked me, was I involved with Miss Prowell? Now, I told him yes. You know, we had a little thing going on at the time. It wasn't very, very serious. Well, he was like, well...
Okay, this woman is hilarious. You're upset that he believes someone who told him you were cheating, yet you admit it's true. So what's your issue, ma'am? The point is, you were cheating on him with this, Mr. Gaddis, and that's it.
Didn't know she was in a relationship. She lied to me, obviously. I don't think I'm the father, because we only messed around a few times, and I didn't hear from her for months.
Wow. Ms. Prowell sure knows how to lie to men. Mr. Gaddis, who is also a potential father, is denying the paternity of the child and even had no idea she was pregnant. They had a fling a long time ago, and to him, that ship has long sailed. So this baby issue doesn't seem to concern him much.
I do want to say for the record, I'm very remorseful for what I did because that was totally out of spite. That's what it was.
She claims to have been drunk when the thing with Mr. Gaddis happened. But the thing with the third guy, Mr. Lowry, was very intentional, and she had done it out of spite. Like Judge Lauren just said, 3 wrongs do not make a right.
If you knew we had sex more than once, why wasn't I hit up for this? Like, why weren't I called?
Can I say something, Your Honor?
I'm talking now. No calls, no texts, because I switched jobs. How we met at a party.
This all makes sense now knowing that they're teenagers. What does Ms. Prowell mean by not wanting Mr. Lowry to be her child's father? If you didn't want him to be, you shouldn't have slept with him in the first place because now it's not in your control.
Sometime on the 17th, and I slept with him again on the 28th.
Okay, move on.
I'm on the red. When I slept with Mr. Gaddis at a party.
My goodness. How is this girl not embarrassed? She slept with 3 coworkers in, the same week, and she's here like she's some math teacher teaching the court how to read a calendar.
During the process of me giving birth, however, after me giving birth and they moved me to my stable room.
Does Ms. Prowell think she's in the right? Does she really believe anyone's going to be on her side after everything she's just admitted? It's a good thing Mr. Morton didn't sign that birth certificate. At least he held her hand while she gave birth to the baby. It's proof that he cares for her.
And why didn't you call him?
How can we help if we don't hear about the kid? That's my kid. You should have to call me to let me know.
This is what
I don't sound like I even like you like that, but if that's my kid...
Imagine trying to make a choice now. What a joke. Since when did knowing how to change a diaper become a criterion for being a father? How many men, or people in general, know how to change a diaper before having a kid? It's clear Ms. Prowell doesn't fancy Mr. Lowry very much. Wish she had considered that before having revenge sex with him.
Percentage that is your child is the percentage that it isn't your child, regardless. No one this child.
But your point is you don't feel like any of the men truly stepped up.
Did Ms. Prowell and her neighbor expect all the men to be knocking at her door, begging to take care of the child when they weren't even sure if the child was theirs? It doesn't work that way. Good thing it's only been 6 weeks. And from here on out, whoever the father is will have to step up.
But where you and your baby are today, I'm not saying they got it all the way right. All of you silly because you're teenagers. You're young. You have no business even having babies.
Bet she wasn't expecting that outburst from Judge Lauren. Let's end this whole thing and find out who Ethan's father is. The results are in.
Pertaining to whether or not Mr. Morton or Mr. Lowry is the biological father of 6-week-old Ethan Morton, it has been determined by this court the father is Mr. Morton.
Lisa, the youngest, had lived her entire life as the family's outcast, and now she was here to finally get answers. Her mother, Ms. Liddell, never seemed eager to clear things up, and now here she was, facing off against the woman who had kept her in the dark.
Ms. Lisa Williams, I'll start with you. Why is it so important to get down to the bottom of this today?
Well, Your Honor, I was always the outcast of me and my 2 sisters because, being the baby, I'm the youngest. And
Ms. Liddell wasn't exactly pleading innocent. She had abandoned her daughters, moved them around, and made choices no child should have to suffer from. But now, with her back against the wall, she wouldn't just roll over and take the blame. If she thought that would calm things down, she was dead wrong.
One thing I tell you about my 3 daughters, they are manipulated.
Just like me. Just like me. They are liars. Just like me. It's the truth.
We're not even
It's
her
the
kids.
Chaos erupted. The sisters exploded, firing accusations like bullets. They had been tossed around in foster care and shuffled from house to house, while their mother lived her life however she pleased. Jasmine doubted their mother had ever even cared about them, and that's when things got ugly.
When you grew up believing that a certain man was your father?
Yes.
Okay, explain.
Okay, when I was growing up, family members would say, no, he's not your father. It was just a rumor going around that.
Who is that?
James.
The man who's going to appear in court today and has been tested.
Lisa revealed the moment that shattered her faith in her mother. A chance encounter at a gas station, just a regular day. A stranger recognized her mother and called out her name. But when Ms. Liddell turned around, she had no clue who he was. How does a mother forget the man who fathered her child?
And Lisa, what information did you have?
Well, I had my doubts, like when I was extremely little young. Me and Jasmine went to go see her father because he was, away. He was away. That was my first time ever seeing him. And that day when I saw him, I'm knowing,
And yet, here they were. Lisa had been carrying the weight of that moment for years, and today she was dumping it right at her mother's feet. But Ms. Liddell, she barely flinched. She admitted it. She had no idea who fathered Lisa, Jamie, or Jasmine. Could be one man, could be several.
Either they'll be separated away from me.
She didn't take a chance how to raise us. I was in 5 different homes.
5. How could I raise you when I didn't love myself? What was I going to do for you? What nothing I could do for y'all.
You didn't try.
Then, James Williams, the man they had all been told was their father, appeared via video call. He didn't believe he was their father, not even close. He had always had doubts, especially given their mother's past. And the worst part? He wasn't wrong to question it.
Do you believe you are these young girls' biological father? Do you believe that?
Deep in my heart, Your Honor, and I hate to say it, and it's hurting me to say it too, but no, I do not.
You don't act like it. It shouldn't be hurting you. He said no. You don't act like it. You sure don't act like it.
What are your doubts?
The sisters were livid. Years of rejection, suspicion, and neglect exploded in the courtroom, shouting, insults, tears, the kind of raw, unfiltered pain that even the most seasoned judge couldn't ignore. Judge Lake had seen messy cases before, but this was a different level of dysfunction.
You've never felt in your heart when you saw this man or heard about this man, this is my real father.
Yes, and that's why it hurt. That's why it's so emotional. That's why it hurts so bad. He is the only father that I ever knew.
When the moment was right, Judge Lake slammed her gavel and took control. Time for the truth. Only the results could resolve this. All eyes locked on her as she held the envelope. Is James the biological father of the 3 women? Hearts pounded, breath hitched.
Mr. Williams, you are her father.
He did like that. He straight dropped his head like, oh.
It was out of happiness.
When it comes to Ms. Lisa Williams, Mr. Williams, you are not her father. When it comes to Ms. Jamie Williams, Mr. Williams, you are not her father.
The mystery of a lifetime is about to be revealed, but not without a storm of emotions first. A woman stands before the judge, shaking with uncertainty, while her mother stands beside her, barely containing her own frustration. The truth is hanging by a thread, and it's one that could tear their entire family apart.
Ms. Kyler, you've brought your mother to court in hopes of finally finding out which of the 2 men in these photographs is your biological father. You claim it's been a lifelong mystery, and you hope it will end today.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mrs. Kyler has grown up her whole life with doubts swirling in her mind. Since she was 5, she'd been told that Mr. Barros was her father, but the man never acknowledged her. He lived right upstairs, but always kept his distance as though she were invisible. Worse, he had another family, yet every month he dutifully paid child support, even though he couldn't bring himself to claim her as his own.
Tell the court, how did your doubts begin?
My doubts began as a child, around 5 years old. My mother telling me that Mr. Barros was my father. He lived right upstairs from us, but he had another family. He would not acknowledge me.
But the story was even more twisted. When she was young, his niece told her the truth. She confronted her mother, and the confusing puzzle pieces only grew more scattered. And then, there was that time he told her his truth. She spent years carrying the weight of uncertainty, and now she's determined to get clarity. Was the man upstairs her father, or was there someone else?
Upset about that, so I ran and took my best friend to my mom's room. I remember she had court documents about the DNA testing between Mr. Barros and my mother and myself.
So I showed that to my best friend. I was like, look, he is my father.
Wow.
Also, I remember him taking me.
But now, decades later, after Mr. Barros has passed, Mrs. Kyler needs the truth. She's taken a step no one expected. She's going to court to demand answers. Ms. Mills, her mother, insists on the truth she's always believed. Mr. Barros was the father, but the situation grows murkier with every passing moment.
Ms. Mills?
Yes.
So you told your daughter, the man upstairs, that your biological father?
Yeah, I told her because we moved into an area where her dad's family was living at. So I knew when we moved down there around her grandmother, her aunts and them, that she was going to run into her dad.
The family tensions are heated as the women go back and forth. Mrs. Kyler's frustration spills over. She argues that her mother never had a real relationship with Mr. Barros. Sure, they were together at first, but he had an affair when she was only a few months old. Her mother kicked him out, and child support was the only thing that remained.
Your Honor, I actually went down to the courthouse earlier this year. I wanted to see if there's proof, if there's a test done, and they told me I couldn't see the file because it was sealed. The only person who could see it was Mr. Barros or my mother. When I told my mother that, she went back and told my sister, why is she doing this? Why is she bringing this up? He's dead. She needs to let it go. Like, how can I let something like this go? I don't even know who my father is.
The accusations keep coming. Mrs. Kyler isn't just questioning the truth of her mother's story. She's wondering if there's something even darker at play. Could it be that her mother was trying to hide the truth for her own reasons?
It's hard for me to believe her story when there were doubts and questions about who all of our fathers were. So
how was that? How do you know?
Hello, I talked to his family.
Who family?
Mr. Barros' family.
How would they know?
Because you hang with them. They were your best friends.
They were not my best friend.
They lived with you.
As the tensions mount, the judge leans forward, her calm yet stern presence cutting through the chaos. She questioned Ms. Mills about her certainty. Why was Mr. Barros paying child support for a child he supposedly didn't father? Why was he so involved with the family yet never acknowledged his own flesh and blood?
Family acknowledged you? The family even acknowledged her. Why not him?
Because I took him to court for child support. He was angry about that. He didn't want them to attach his check. He didn't want to pay child support for her.
You feel like he was angry at you.
As the drama unfolds, it becomes clear that the truth won't be so easily digested. Ms. Mills sticks to her version of events, but there's something in her eyes that betrays doubt. The entire courtroom feels the weight of the moment. This witness is going to either confirm or deny those versions of events.
I started hearing rumors when I was about 6 that I had a potential sister because we lived in the same complex. I was kind of jealous in the beginning because I was his only daughter. So I approached him about it and he said it wasn't true. He always said it wasn't. He wasn't the father.
The daughter of the other potential dad also took the stand and sided with Mrs. Kyler. The air was thick with anticipation. Everyone is waiting for the verdict. Finally, after all the noise, all the accusations, and all the painful revelations, it will be settled.
Your 29-year wait is over. The deceased, Mr. Barros, was not your biological father. The results for this particular testing between you, Ms. Tirado, and yourself, Ms. Kyler, the results were inconclusive.
This relationship was doomed from the start. It began with late-night hookups and no commitment, just two people indulging in the thrill of the moment. But 7 years later, here they were, standing before Judge Lake, drowning in one very pressing question. Is Mr. Phillips the father of 2-year-old Hope?
Ms. Wilson, you believe the defendant, Mr. Phillips, was always unfaithful to you and still holds a flame?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yet you claim he is the one who's always accused you of cheating, and he's repeatedly denied fathering your daughter, Hope.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Wilson was adamant he was the father, but Mr. Phillips wasn't buying it. He pointed at her history, her shady nights out, and most of all, a certain co-worker named Mr. Garcia, the man she kissed in a club, the man she went on trips with, the same man Mr. Phillips claimed looked exactly like Hope.
You say you believe that Ms. Wilson had sexual relations with a co-worker, and it is he who fathered her 2-year-old daughter. You claim the child looks just like that co-worker and nothing like you.
The courtroom was tense. Ms. Wilson was furious. She wasn't the cheater here. It was him who had women coming in and out of his apartment. He was a self-proclaimed bachelor living a life of indulgence, and yet she was the one on trial? The nerve.
How did your relationship with Mr. Phillips go so wrong?
Well, the way we got together just having sex. And so when you build a relationship like that...
That's pretty together.
Yeah.
But Mr. Phillips had his own reasons for doubt. He wasn't just making this up. He had proof, or at least what he believed to be proof. Hope's features were a dead giveaway, he argued. She had the same look as his biracial son. They have the same skin tone and the same features. It wasn't just in his head, he was sure of it.
This is my friend, he's holding my daughter in his arms. And approached me and shook my hands as just a basic friend.
The same man that now she's admitting to being in the club kissing.
Talk to me, yes.
And you think he's the father.
Judge Lake wasn't interested in the back and forth of their past. This wasn't a show about relationships. It was about paternity. Who was Hope's father? Ms. Wilson had her own receipts. Yes, she had been around Mr. Garcia, but did that mean they did anything? She was sick of Mr. Phillips controlling the narrative.
She knew in my whole delivery that I was a player, that I was a bachelor, that I was living that life when she met me.
It didn't backfire for me. How did it backfire for me?
Because once we got together, I could never be trusted. She quizzed me on everything I did.
Because
and in her mind,
he was the kind of man that would have.
The drama was hitting its peak. Ms. Wilson had lived through his wild lifestyle, his swinger parties, and his revolving door of women. She had tried to build something real with him, but it always felt like she was competing with the ghosts of his past. The fact that he was still holding on to them, even now, unbelievable.
So you move in with Mr. Phillips.
Yes.
And you all have a conversation. You say, you know what? I'm pregnant. We're living together. Let's try to make this thing work and have a real committed relationship. You agreed to it, Mr. Phillips.
I agreed to it.
Mr. Phillips admitted to having a collection of naked pictures, including that of his ex-wife. This is despite the fact that he and Miss Wilson had agreed to be serious about the relationship. In spite of his actions, he maintained that Ms. Wilson lied to him and that he cannot, in good conscience, claim the baby as his.
Your assertion, you believe her co-worker is Hope's father.
My anchor is the fact that I was lied to from the beginning of the relationship. I was bamboozled. I thought I was messing with a business owner.
Judge Lake was thrilled about the whole story. Well, who wouldn't be? She called in Garcia, Ms. Wilson's friend. Mr. Garcia maintains that Mr. Phillips is the father and that the most intimate thing he ever did with Ms. Wilson was kiss her, and that was because she was teaching him how to kiss. Nothing romantic.
Mr. Garcia, yes, Your Honor. Have you ever been intimate sexually with Ms. Wilson?
No, Your Honor. Only mouth-wise kissing.
Only kissing?
And her lips only, that's it. And tongue.
So silly.
But never sexually anything like that.
But none of this changed the fact that there was a child involved. Hope needed answers. Judge Lake had heard enough. It was time. The courtroom held its breath as she revealed the results.
And whether Mr. Phillips or Mr. Garcia is her father, Mr. Phillips, you are her father.
One day, Chanel Craig was a little girl clinging to the only father she knew. The next, her aunt was telling her to stop because, surprise, that wasn't her dad. But the confusion didn't stop there. Years later, another man entered the picture. This time her mother introduced him as her real father. But was he?
You say that today is your last hope in discovering your true identity. Now you state that one question continually haunts you. Is the man you've been calling dad for most of your life?
Chanel had spent her entire life piecing together a puzzle that no one seemed to have the answers to. Her mother, Janelle Craig, admitted she had been with multiple men at the time of conception, but she was confident about one thing. This man, Mr. Thompson, was the father. In fact, she had confronted him years ago, right in front of his wife.
How did you meet him?
I was getting out the foster home with my sister. We went to go stay with my mom and my aunt at the time. My dad came around. I was like, okay, where's the other man at? And they was like, well, this is your dad right here.
Miss Craig, who's this man she thought was her father?
That was the current boyfriend, and he knew he wasn't the father.
However, there was one little problem. Mr. Thompson did not remember. He doesn't agree. He is not the father. Chanel had spent her childhood bouncing in and out of foster homes, searching for stability, searching for identity. Then, at 10 years old, she was told that Mr. Thompson was her father, just like that.
We have a 10-year-old kid together.
Okay, so you remember this day?
No, I do not.
So how did you find out that
I remember
Chanel...
seeing Chanel when Chanel was a baby. She was a small little baby. She was one, but I came out of prison. She was a little baby.
He remembered visiting baby Chanel at her grandmother's house after getting out of prison. He looked at her, and the doubt crept in. Was this really his child? He wasn't convinced, and he told Janelle. But Janelle? Oh, she wasn't trying to hear that. She stuck to her story. He was the father. C'est fini.
Did you believe this is my child?
No.
Oh.
I didn't. That's why I told her mother.
And
You're
so
lying. You never told me that. And I don't even believe you went to my mama's house. Where was she living at the time?
So, for years, Mr. Thompson stayed away. He wasn't trying to play dad to a child he wasn't sure was his. But then, one phone call changed everything. Chanel's aunt reached out, and just like that, he came back. Because deep down, he knew there was a chance. But their relationship was strained, awkward even.
She wouldn't come with me alone. I just felt like that I wanted to spend time with her. She didn't want to spend time with me. She wanted to bring other people, and I couldn't deal with that.
You can understand.
Yeah.
That's.
And her mother? She wasn't any better. Janelle claims she raised Chanel on her own and played the role of both mom and dad. But Mr. Thompson fired back. How could she claim that when she wasn't even around? The real caregiver? Chanel's aunt.
That's mother and daughter, but how do you come in from being gone 7 years and say, oh, you can come?
Dude, but you gotta look at, I took care of her when you wasn't. You wasn't around.
You weren't either.
You around with these
I played both parts. What are you talking about?
And this is what I go through.
The entire situation was a mess, and the tension in the courtroom was thick. Janelle and Mr. Thompson were throwing accusations back and forth like a game of hot potato. Lies, betrayal, abandonment. It was all laid out for the world to see. And through it all, Chanel sat there, the only person who had everything to lose.
So you came out of the foster care system and you were living with...
Yes.
And all this time, you think Mr. Thompson is your father?
Yes, but when I got back in touch with him, he was telling me that he was saying that he didn't think I was his.
Yes, there was another man. And yet another man. She had ruled the second man out because a DNA test had concluded that he wasn't the father. So even though she saw similarities between her and the man, she had to accept the results. But now she's angry.
Are you asking your mother? Are you upset with your mother?
I'm mad at him because they should have got it done when I was born, and they didn't get it done. He came back into my life when I was 10.
At the end of the day, this wasn't about Janelle. It wasn't about Mr. Thompson. It was about Chanel. And then, finally, the moment of truth arrived. Judge Lake held the envelope in her hands. The room was dead silent. Was Mr. Thompson really Chanel's father?
Mr. Thompson is not your father.
Sorry, Neil. You can give me a hug. It don't matter. I'm still your dad. I'm sorry. Sorry.
The courtroom was filled with tension as Mrs. King Rajat stood on the witness stand, her voice trembling with emotion. She was here to prove one thing. Her daughter Destiny was her husband, Mr. Rajot's biological child.
Mr. Rajot, you claim your wife had an affair shortly after you returned home. I have no idea if her child is yours because the timing of her sexual encounters with...
For Mrs. Rajat, the very thought that her husband would deny their daughter was eating away at her. She described the painful experience of seeing her husband shower affection on their other children while Destiny was treated like a stranger in her own home. His denial, she argued, wasn't just an attack on their daughter, it was tearing their family apart.
Tell the court why you're here today.
My husband, that our daughter Destiny is in fact his. It is tearing our family apart pieces by pieces because he denies her.
What does he do?
He doesn't interact like he does with our other children.
But Mr. Rajat wasn't backing down. He claimed that the child wasn't his, and his doubts were fueled by one thing: Destiny's striking appearance. Unlike the rest of the family, with their brown hair and eyes, Destiny had blonde hair and blue eyes. Mr. Rajot argued that there was no way she could be his.
You know, all of my family and her family all have brown eyes, and this child has blonde hair and blue eyes. Put a diagram together for you.
You
to
have a
take look at.
diagram?
Yes.
Jerome, can you get that, please?
Sure.
You're such a...
You're a liar.
Mrs. Rajat shot back, suggesting that Mr. Rajot didn't know his own family's history. She mentioned that he had been a foster child, unaware of the genetic traits further back in his bloodline that might explain Destiny's appearance. But Mr. Rajot remained firm in his belief that Destiny didn't belong to him.
Okay,
Yes,
but
correct.
he also is failing to tell you at the moment that he was a foster child, so he doesn't know all of the family. So maybe somebody back in his family he doesn't know.
But Mrs. Rajat had her own evidence. She insisted she hadn't cheated, no matter what her husband believed. She admitted to talking to a man from her past, but she swore on her love for Mr. Rajat that their talk together had been platonic.
King Rajot, have you ever cheated on your husband?
No, I have not.
Never talked to a guy? Nothing inappropriate?
I've spoken to a man, yes, but I have never cheated on my husband. I've never had any sexual...
Despite her words, Mr. Rajat was certain she had betrayed him. He recounted a text message from her phone to an old childhood friend and an alleged night out with another man, both instances enough to fuel his accusations of infidelity. In his eyes, the possibility of cheating was real.
My childhood friend that I grew up with, more than half of my life, just like I've known her. One time we was at a bar and she had actually sent a text.
It seemed like the situation was spiraling into a chaotic back and forth of accusations. Mrs. Rajat accused her husband of being unfaithful, citing the time she had discovered he had an STD while pregnant with their first child.
That actually Mr. Rajat has been the person that's been unfaithful in this marriage. So please tell us, how do you know that?
Well, our first child.
While he denied cheating with her family members, she believed otherwise. She thought he had a secret, and it was even rumored that he'd been involved with her sister. Her accusations were bold and personal, and the courtroom was on edge as she questioned whether he'd betrayed her with someone closer to home.
In the past, I have.
Many of times. As a matter of fact, there's a possibility he has a child by dirty, nasty little troll that he cheated on.
That's not true, Your Honor. I've been with this same woman for half of my life.
As the court prepared to reveal the results of both the paternity test and the lie detector test, you could feel the air thicken as everyone waited for the results, the tension building to a breaking point. Mrs. Rajata's face was a mix of hope and fear, while Mr. Rajat stood, his eyes never leaving the judge.
Mr. Rajat, you are her father. What are you feeling right now?
I'm just mad because he's denied our child for so long. And I knew, because I'm not nasty. I've been faithful to this man since I met him.
That you passed. You've never cheated on your husband. He did not sleep with any of your family.
Ms. Lima came to court claiming that Mr. Anderson, yes, the same Mr. Anderson who was standing beside his devastated wife, was the father of her baby. She admitted she made a terrible mistake, but insisted it was a mistake they both made. Because, surprise, surprise, he never mentioned his wife.
You admit to making a huge mistake and hope it doesn't affect your baby Christina. You had an affair with Mr. Anderson, who is married, and believe he's your daughter's father.
Mr. Anderson, on the other hand, was clinging to the idea that this was just a one-night slip-up, a single night of weakness after an argument with his wife, nothing more. He swore that after that night, he'd never see her again. But Ms. Lima, she wasn't having it.
And you're hoping you're not father today?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so Ms. Lima, tell us how you got yourself into this mess.
Yes, Your Honor. It all started from a Facebook message when Mr. Anderson was messaging me on Facebook. So we started being friends online for about 1.5 years.
That's when Mrs. Anderson's face fell. The reality of it all hit her like a freight train. This wasn't just some fleeting mistake. This was betrayal, deep and ongoing. And the audience? They gasped, they cringed, and they watched as Mr. Anderson squirmed under the weight of his own lies.
So before this, did you know he was married?
No, I did not know he was married. He did not show any signs of marriage or anything.
Mr. Anderson, was this true?
I'm just sorry, Your Honor. I just want to say I'm sorry to my wife and my family and my kids.
Anderson, now cornered, can barely keep his story straight. First, he insists it was just one night, just a one-time slip-up. But Lima, unrelenting, fires back, exposing the truth. She was at his house more than once, knew all about his family, and even described the furniture in their home.
You say this only happened this one night.
One night. It was a one-night stand.
You never saw her again?
Never saw her again.
Ms. Lima?
That's wrong, Your Honor. That's wrong.
How often would you see Mr. Anderson?
We've seen each other for 2 years, every weekend, Saturdays and Sundays.
He admits they did, in fact, spend several weekends together, but now he's trying to backpedal, insisting he's a family man, and the tension in the room is unbearable. His wife, sitting beside him, can barely keep it together as she listens to the truth about her husband's betrayal.
Meaning that this continued past just one night.
Oh my God.
That's a yes.
Yes.
Now, Mr. Anderson, I'm going to remind you, you are in court, and you need to tell the truth.
Then came the real bombshell. Ms. Lima admitted she hadn't only been with Mr. Anderson during the time of conception, there was another man. Oh, but it didn't stop there. She and Mr. Anderson had been intimate again while she was already pregnant. Now it was getting messy.
And when you find out you're pregnant, who do you tell?
I went to Mr. Anderson at first. I went to his family at first. I couldn't contact him, so I went to his family, and I got rejected by them. So I was like, well, that really hurted me. So I was just like, well, let me move to the other person that I had sex with during that time.
Oh, hold on. Let me understand this.
The lies keep piling up, and everything starts to look like a tangled mess of bad decisions. Anderson's wife, visibly shaken, can barely hold it together. She's been with him for over a decade, building a life together, and now everything seems to be crumbling before her, and yet she can't seem to get the truth from him.
Testimony you heard today been different from the understanding you've had?
Yes, Your Honor.
Please explain.
Once we messaged each other, I asked her for her phone number because I want to talk on the phone. You understand? And when she was telling me the things that she was telling me.
Soon enough, Mr. Scott, the other man in the question, was ushered in. The man, Mr. Scott, told the court how everything went down from the time he took flowers to meet Ms. Lima to when she told him that she was pregnant.
3 months later, she was already about 2.5, 3 months pregnant when she told me that she was pregnant.
And she told you herself?
Yes, Your Honor.
And when she told you, did you think, this is my baby?
At first I did, until she started telling me about...
Ms. Lima had told the court that either of these two men is the father of her baby, and now there's no more room for doubt, no more lies left to tell. And then, the moment everyone has been waiting for, the DNA test results.
Mr. Scott, you are not her father.
You just stay right here.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes, Your Honor.
You are not her father.